salvation. Man has been in pursuit of the ultimate. The Buddha showed the middle path to reach salvation, or moksha, which finally frees the mind and soul. Over the past 2,500 years, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, the sacred mantra which came from the land of Bihar, has become a holy chant for millions in many countries of the world. It was at Bodh Gaya that a man gave up a kingdom and gained the universe. Prince Siddhartha attained supreme enlightenment and became the Buddha, or the Enlightened One. Bodh Gaya and the Mahabodhi Temple, the holiest of all pilgrimage centers for the Buddhists. The atmosphere brings about a quiet sense of peace. The Mahabodhi temple is pyramidical. At each of the four corners is a small tower. On the walls are sculpted different aspects of the Buddha legend. In the vicinity of the temple are several stupas of different nature, some commemorative, and chaityas which enshrine the relics of the saints. The Mahabodhi tree, under which Prince Siddhartha saw light and attained enlightenment. The tree that stands today has grown from the original Bodhi tree and commands its original reverence. A raised platform, Vajrasan, marks the spot where the Buddha sat in meditation and attained enlightenment. The Mahabodhi tree and Vajrasan is the central place for worship. The atmosphere is peaceful, giving credence to the legend. On the northern side of the temple is another raised platform, Chakraman, the Jewel Walk. The Lord is said to have strolled here in meditation and spent his third week after enlightenment pondering whether he should reveal to the world the message he received. Several sites around the temple recall the 7 weeks Buddha spent recapitulating what he had achieved. Animesh Lochan, or the place of the unwinking gaze, is a small temple within the campus. It sanctifies the spot where the Buddha stood gazing at the tree in gratitude after he had attained enlightenment. Ratanghar, a small shrine where the Buddha is said to have spent a week in contemplation while rays of 5 different colors emanated from his body. Under the Ajpal Nigrora tree, the Buddha told a Brahmin that only by one's deeds one becomes a Brahmin, and not by birth. Muchlin Lake, near the temple, is the spot where the Buddha spent the 6th week of his meditation. This lotus sarovar is a replica of the lake. A sandstone column built by Emperor Ashoka stands near the lake. Rajyatan, where Lord Buddha gave a sermon to 2 Burmese merchants, Tapusa and Bhalika. To the south and west are richly carved railings. The oldest one is still seen at Bodh Gaya with medallions depicting the lotus sacred to the Buddha. The temple is the most glorious and sacred shrine raised in this complex. As the evening comes, the temple is enveloped with a magical aura. The candle here stands in perfect harmony with his teachings. Inside the shrine sits a huge gilded Buddha in the Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. One automatically bows in reverence before the Lord. Legend has it that the Buddha called the earth to witness his austerities.
We come from France, from Paris, and we came to Bodh Gaya because of the Buddha place of enlightenment, because we are practicing Buddhism, and it's like a pilgrimage for us to come in that place.
Hotels of Bihar Tourism Development Corporation provide very convenient facilities for overnight stay in Bodh Gaya. The hotels have shopping complexes selling small mementos. Several monasteries have been built by the Burmese, Tibetan, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, and Bhutanese devotees in their own architectural styles. These monasteries have magnificent statues of the Lord. A huge 80-feet statue of the Buddha, erected by the Japanese, is a sight worth seeing. Bodh Gaya is well connected by air, rail and road. The nearest airstrip is only 12 kilometers away. After spending a day at Bodh Gaya, one can visit Sujata, a little village sacred to the memory of the Lord. Sujata Asthan lies across the dried bed of the Niranjana river, where the Lord bathed after attaining enlightenment. A young village woman, Sujata, offered him a bowl of rice gruel. Prince Siddhartha, in search of knowledge, was refreshed, as if he had received a new lease of life.
To see those places that where Buddha has passed by, yeah.
This is my second pilgrimage. To see the sites where the Buddha lived, to try to picture his lifestyle.
At the same end of the river are the Dungeshwari mountains. A natural cave where the Buddha meditated for some time and came to the conclusion that knowledge cannot be gained through mortification of the body. The cave has a statue of the Buddha in an emaciated state. The legend is that Siddhartha undertook a penance for 6 long years in these caves. He said, "Do not tighten the strings of the instrument so much that they give in, nor leave them so loose that no music is generated." On the highway junction between Bodh Gaya to Jahanabad lies the Barabar and Nagarjuni caves. As we reach closer to the destination, a huge whale-shaped rock faces us. Believe it or not, these caves are the earliest specimens of Buddhist rock-cut caves. The interiors have been chiseled to a wonderful finish. They speak highly of the skill of the Indian builders of the 3rd century BC. The Sudama cave dates back to 257 BC. This is different from others. It has a circular hall and hemispherical dome. The holy chanting echoes in these caves. These caves were excavated by Emperor Ashoka in his reign. They bear an inscription to show that it was donated by him for the use of monks. The Lomas Rishi cave was left unfinished. The entranceway to these caves bear intricate engravings. Amidst this panoramic grandeur and natural beauty, one can enjoy boating. A small temple on the Siddheshwar peak is dedicated to Lord Shiva. It is believed that there are many more undiscovered caves which could enthuse an adventurous-minded tourist. Like the Barabar, the Nagarjuni caves are situated a little away. These caves are sacrosanct for another sect of Buddhists. The edicts here are much more elaborate. Comfortable accommodation with a restaurant has been set up in this wonderful setting. Traveling from Gaya on smooth motorable roads is Rajgir. Located in a verdant valley, surrounded by rocky hills and lush green forests, Rajgir was the favorite abode of Lord Buddha. This hill town was once the capital of the mighty Magad Empire. Griddakut, or Vulture's Peak, is famous in Buddhist history as the place where the Buddha set in motion his second wheel of law. For 3 months every year, during the rainy season, he preached many inspiring sermons to his disciples. It was in these hills where he proselytized Bindusar to Buddhism. The king made a flight of steps to reach the summit. At some distance from the summit, there are a number of small caves used by monks. The Buddha Sangha of Japan has constructed a massive modern stupa, Vishvashanti Stupa, on top of the hill in commemoration. Every year on 25th October, a special ritual takes place here. Buddhists from all over the world assemble here and renew their pledge of love and peace advocated by the Buddha. A 7-kilometer bridge path leads up the hill, but it is much more fun to take the aerial chairlift. The aerial link with the top provides a splendid view of the hills of Rajgir. Within the valley, the Jivak Amravan monastery has been excavated. It was the favorite retreat of the Lord. The famous physician Jivak treated him here when he was injured by his cousin Devdutt. The other places worth visiting include the ancient Chaitya or Maniyar Mutt, so called after an old small shrine. Several pieces of Buddhist sculpture were discovered here. Bindusar had presented a monastery, the Venuvan Vihar, to Lord Buddha for his residence at Rajgir. This was his first offering to the master. Two rather strange cave chambers hollowed out of a single massive rock are the Swarn Bhandar caves. The doorway of the cave leads to King Bimbisar's treasury. Bimbisar's jail is the site chosen by the captive king from where he could see Lord Buddha climbing atop the Gridakut hills. A rectangular stone, sculpted by the forces of nature, appears to have been used as a watchtower. It later became the resort of pious hermits. Called the Pipala Cave, it is popularly known as the Jarasandh Ki Baithak. A newly built Jain center, Virayatan, is another tourist attraction. The museum has several artifacts on Jainism. While climbing the Vaibhargiri hills, which is difficult to approach for the untrained, there are several Jain and Hindu temples along the path. On one of the hills are the Saptaparni caves, where the first Buddhist councils were held. His teachings, which were hitherto unwritten, were penned down at Rajgir after his nirvana. The Saptaparni caves are also the source of the Rajgir hot water springs. The springs have curative properties and are sacred to the Hindus. The stay here is made enjoyable with comfortable rooms. The journey is equally pleasant with reliable transport facilities organized by the Bihar Tourism Development Corporation. A short drive on the Rajgir-Patna road takes one to Nalanda. It has the ruins of the world-renowned University of Nalanda. The structural remains here belong to the period between the 5th and 12th century AD. This vast residential university provided facilities for scholarly pursuits for about 10,000 students from different parts of Asia, under 2,000 teachers. Kings and emperors built monasteries and temples here. Carefully excavated remains reveal stupas, a large stairway, lecture halls, dormitories, meditation centers, wells, etc. From the top, the visitor can obtain a wide view of the entire site. The temple is studded with a variety of sculptures and stucco figures. The sculptures belong to the Gupta period. They are some of the finest specimens of the era. It is not a single structure, but many of them have been added at different times. Nalanda is visited the year round by a large number of Indian and foreign tourists. Sariput, the chief disciple of Lord Buddha, was born here, and the Lord himself visited this place on his way to and from Rajgir. A major attraction is the hall built in the memory of the famous Chinese pilgrim and writer Huinsang, who came to India in the 7th century AD. One can spend the night at the PWD guest house or drive down to Patna. The tourist bungalow Kautilya Vihar has a comfortable ambience with a beautiful lobby. The restaurant here invites you to have mouth-watering cuisine. Patna is air-linked to most major cities. The visit to Patna is incomplete without visiting its museum. Travel from Patna to Vaishali has become convenient with the construction of a road bridge over the river Ganga. Gandhi Setu, Asia's longest river bridge, provides a scenic view of rural Bihar as one drives down. Vaishali is very special to a Buddhist. The Lord visited this place frequently and preached his last sermon and announced his impending nirvana. Emperor Ashoka built an Ashokan pillar here. The pillar is made of sandstone, supporting an inverted lotus-shaped capital. On the summit sits a life-sized lion, facing northwards, the direction Buddha took on his last journey. During the excavations, several stupas were discovered, which date back to the time they were built to commemorate the Second Buddhist Council. Buddha's ashes were found along with the beautiful terracotta head of the master. Close by is the famous Markat Pond, whose waters are considered sacred. Recent excavations have revealed several other monasteries too. Vaishali, the capital of ancient Lichavis, is known as the first republic of the world. Raja Vishal Ka Garh, a kilometer in circumference, is the parliament house of the ancient republic. Over 7,000 representatives of the Federal Assembly gathered here to legislate and discuss the problems of the ancient republic. Excavations at this site led to the discovery of another relic casket containing the ashes of the Buddha. Amrapali, a famous Lord Buddha, the gentle Colossus, who founded the first universal religion of the world, worked and lived much of his life in Bihar. Most of the major events of his life occurred here. Bodh Gaya, where he attained enlightenment and became the Buddha. From Bodh Gaya, one can visit Sarnath, where the wheel of law was set in motion. Rajgir, where the Buddha set in motion his second wheel of law. At the Gridakut hill, he delivered many of his sermons to his disciples. Nalanda was the center of learning of Buddhist philosophy. The Lord himself visited this place on his way to and from Rajgir. Vaishali, where Lord Buddha preached his last sermons and announced his impending nirvana. From here, one can also visit Kushinagar, where the Lord passed into Parinirvana. The Buddhist circuit of Bihar is studded with stupas and shrines. A pilgrimage through them leads to the pathway to ultimate salvation through renunciation and enlightenment.